Hi there, everyone. I had an interesting thought the other day I thought I'd share with you guys before I started this video. Anyway, the other day I thought about something to do with connectivity with people and relationships between two people. So, understanding brings connectivity with others. So does sharing experiences, and I suspect that most people being more susceptible to reactive instead of proactive responses tend to rely too much on sharing experiences that tend to neglect understanding of the partner. Now, what I mean by this is, I actually suspect that a lot of people rely too much on the experience of sharing to build on their relationships with their partner, which is not a negative thing at all. This is quite a good thing. A lot of people call chemistry this, meaning sharing with other people. They call it chemistry when you have good sharing experiences. Anyway, my point is, I think problems arise when you do not actually understand your partner. You just understanding the dynamics of sharing with that person. For instance, my best friend, him and his partner communicate a lot through sharing. If they're not connecting very well, Luke tends to tease her and stir her up, and this gets a good response from her. She enjoys it quite a lot, and she loves him for it. Matter of fact, I love him for it because he does it to me too. Cheeky bugger. Um, anyway, so my point is that I think people overlook understanding their actual partner, actually thinking about why and how they work, and rely too much on the actions of spending experiences with them, sharing experiences with them. Alright, so to what I wanted to talk about. Sub lesson number one. People and social understanding. So it was a good little footnote to start with. Every single person you'll ever meet in your life will be differently unique. Excuse me. Just going to turn the music on. Um, Even if some of them happen to have similar traits, everyone has their own uniqueness. Let it be their desires for who they are or their choices they make. No matter how similar people can be, there was always a difference that changes who tells you who the difference is. It's not just a name. Alright. Alright, so being that everyone is identical, you can't go by generalizations. There are some similarities within um, society that do crop up, but these are taught things. And so every person is unique in their own right, so you have to deal with them as if every one of them is different. So, how do you work with it if everyone happens to have a different state of mind, a different understanding, a different unique lifestyle, and whatnot? Like for me, I happen to be a big fan of dogs, but not everyone is. If you can see that, that's my dog in the background, sleeping with her Christmas collar on. Um, anyway, so there are very small general patterns in humankind's social systems that can be used to talk and engage with people. But if you want long, deep, lasting relationships, you really can only be yourself. So you can try to use the basic good old how are you, how's the weather, and all that, but it'll only last so long. You've got to really get into actually being yourself, bringing that part of yourself into the relationship and communicating with them. My point is that there's no point faking it. I only agree with faking it until you can make it. Basically, if you don't know who you are and you're having trouble finding that person, faking it will give you more opportunities and experiences with people to actually engage the real you in that situation. Alright. Uh, so basically, if you never bring yourself into this equation, it's only going to be shallow and deep, shallow and fake relationships with these people, which I can't really talk for everyone on this world, on this planet, but that's not what I want. I want full on, deep depth relationships with people that have complexities and in jokes and um, stability of knowing that that person thinks and cares about the person you are, and vice versa. I honestly care about most people and who they are. I don't think I've ever met anyone that I could be like, well, you shouldn't be that way. It's always been like there's some people I just don't connect with and I don't feel a kinship to. That's the worst thing. But majority of people, it's always been I love the uniqueness of who they are, and their faults are usually um, a beautiful part of them. All right, so anyway, you cannot fake it because it will tear you apart. Your emotions will force their way through, and the real you will always come out, no matter how much you try to hide it. Which I find so surprising about most teenage girls. Like, I don't think I've met many teenage girls that are actually honest, honestly want to show who they are. They're so scared of being rejected that they hide that person. And a lot of women I know today still do that and have not outgrown that. Like probably 90% of the women I've met. And it's really sad because, well, that's the awesome bit of them. That honesty and that real person behind the makeup and behind the laughing at your jokes just because they're jokes. Hell, if I make a bad joke, I'm going to respect and care about someone more if they go, that was so bad. Like, I'm not going to respect it if someone puts me down for a bad joke. It's just a joke. So there's no point in actually being a put down about it. If it's not appropriate, I can understand that. Anyway, all right. So back to my point about people. Society teaches us this social etiquette, but being made and designed by us humans, it is very fallible. And as far as I can tell, this etiquette only half works. I feel this is true because half of social etiquette is based on power over others, and yet power and control are an illusion. So it is to my understanding. Um, I take power out and replace it with the independent self, which in itself takes the power play out of social dynamics, which in turn frees people's feelings and thoughts from anything but love, freedom, life, and self. Basically, I bring myself in when so when I'm talking about self, I'm talking about the person you want to be, the person that no one else chose or told you to be, the person you wanted to be, and the person you feel like being, and the person you want to be. I'm not sure how to explain. It's such a complicated subject, a single person. I mean, it's unique for every person. It is built on the social dynamics and diversity that you grew up on, the experiences you've had, the family you had to teach you, the teachers you've had. So it's unbelievably complicated. But to simplify it, the best is that saying that it's been around for a long time, just be yourself. It means so many things, and yet it only means one true thing. So my point is that being yourself in a situation means being an independent, self-sufficient person. You take care of yourself. You are you. You always plan to be you. You don't let people step on you. Don't let other people make the decisions for you. I mean, it's okay to lay back and let someone else steer the ship on like social occasions and that. I mean, that's completely understandable. That's fun. It's nice not to be in charge and not have to organize everything for a change. But I'm still saying that the manipulation within the group and the power play that is ingrained into our social dynamics is incorrect by my understanding and by my feelings even. I find a lot of people try to manipulate the situations to their advantage, and it's just it's laughable actually. It's so laughable, but because the fact is manipulation only begets destruction. If you create something, you've created it. But if you're so attached to it because you're manipulating it, because you're manipulating it out of fear of loss of control. But the fact is, everything's going to come to an end at one point or another, or everything's going to change whether you like it or not. You got to accept these kind of things. These things are part of the truth of reality. And the more you hold on, the more destructive the outcome's going to be. And so, in the end, it is. I find it quite amusing that all these people are so blind to their own manipulative destruction. They're creating their own corruption within, forcing their will upon others. That thus then just self-destructs. Like me and Dad actually, we had a debate yesterday about this, about how we're talking about how companies and capitalism uh, has no moral values anymore because of the fact that most companies don't care about their customers. All they want to do is make it look like they care and give you just enough so you're happy. And he was saying they do it because they do it because they can. And I agree with this. They do it because they can. Because what's that saying? Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. And if anyone quotes me that that's off the game, that doesn't change the fact that it is so true. Nothing is true and everything is permitted. Because everything you learned is something we learned and it's a perception, so it is bound by our own thoughts, feelings, and experiences and thus not true. It is only true if it's infallible. But the fact is, all our thoughts are fallible, and that's one of the cool things about us. Um, I'm getting a little off subject. Anyway, so my point was to my dad that corruption only destroys itself. It begets gain to a person in certain ways, but only for a short period of time. And because of that avenue that they took by that choice of the choice of corruption or immoralness, or basically back to what I was saying, power over others and forcing upon will, it only just comes back and bites you in the ass. It's surprising that years and ages ago, someone thought up with this idea called karma. And the truth of the matter is, in the systematic diversity and truth of the world, karma does exist in its form, if not in a hocus pocus way. It's more of a cause and effect, like a butterfly effect, like by the fact that we've manipulated technology to create um, the combustion engine, and the combustion engine is actually releasing so much carbon dioxide that it is actually destroying our ozone layer and causing a destructive effect on Earth. So we forced a manipulation there, and because of it, we've caused a destructive effect. So, good intentions, yeah, they don't always go the right way. So in social dynamics, I'm bringing this up because I feel that there's a lot of power play within social dynamics, and trying to trying to make it equal for everyone is hard because everyone is unique and they have their own views and they try to control the situation to what they would like. Where there's an element within it that is just letting go, just an element within social dynamics and socializing with people, that just letting go and bringing that self of you in there. I want to make a point. I want to make a point that social being self, being yourself, when I refer to it, I'm talking about not giving into fears, because lack of control comes from fear of not being in control and being hurt because of that. But the truth is, you can be in the most control of everything and still hurt yourself so bad and be completely destructive. For example, Hitler, he had great control, but he only ended up causing death and destruction and destroyed the lives of millions and himself for it. Like he wasn't a victor in that. He was so caught up in trying to control the social dynamics around him that he just fucked himself over. Anyway, like so I agree with letting go and relaxing and not letting it phase you, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about being yourself, because the real self is the person is that part of you that was born without the fear of losing control and without the thought of fear. Like, how much fear do kids have? Like, I've seen a lot of my little cousins hurt themselves, bawl their eyes out, and then just go like 5 minutes later, go back and do the exact same thing, even though they hurt themselves pretty bad, and they let go of that fear. And that's what I think the best thing about uh, being around people is learning from other people's fear. Like you can see it in them, and you can see it coming up in yourself, and you're like, whoa, all right, this situation is not out of control because it's not in anyone's control. It is just happening, and there's no reason to fear it. You can take precautions and you can learn from your fear. But when you let your fear into you until it becomes an anxiety, it does nothing but inhibit your enjoyment and zest for life. So why give into it, especially in social ways? Anyway, for myself, I've actually developed to interact with people without causing that fear. I'm not sure how I did that, but I think it was because I treated people how I wanted to be treated, and I wanted people to treat me like I was something they could be relaxed about. Because I always found a lot of people got very anxious about me because they weren't sure how to react with me. Anyway, so I developed that, and I got to a point where I just do it naturally now. And I find that everyone I'm with, especially one on one, tend to relax and really just they let go of all their anxieties. They can be very comfortable and relaxed around me, which is great because I love to talk to them and find out who they are. And when they're relaxed, people are very forthcoming about what they have to say. I know too many secrets. It's not too bad. I usually forget them pretty quickly. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'd love to hear anything you got to say on this subject. Oh yeah, by the way, it's my dog Jackie. She's a beautiful little fox terrier.